Welcome to Latte with a Lawyer, a podcast dedicated to bringing you the stories of some of America's most successful lawyers, figuring out what makes them tick, how they creatively solve problems, and how others aspiring to be them can follow in their footsteps.
Okay, welcome to another episode of Latte with a Lawyer. I'm your host, Jonathan Brickman, and this afternoon we have Andrew Wilson with the law firm Lippes Mathias. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jonathan. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, Latte with a Lawyer, I don't know if you're still drinking coffee, but first question, what's your morning beverage of choice?
So I have never had a cup of coffee in my life. I know that's a little weird, but my beverage of choice is kombucha. I don't know if you've ever had kombucha,
I have not.
but I like the brand name's Kavita. They have a tart cherry kombucha that is supposed to be healthy, and maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know, but that's my my morning drink to get me going a little bit. I
Okay.
like. I'm a little old. I don't know if you remember G Love and Special Sauce. There was an old group, but they had a song, Cold Beverages.
Yeah.
I like cold beverages, so I don't drink coffee.
Oh, wow. Never even tried a cup of coffee. That's amazing.
No, it does not interest me.
Wow. That must be a Canadian thing. You're from Canada, I know. So maybe you probably grew up on tea.
They did a lot of tea in Canada, yes. I grew up technically in Buffalo, but went to high school in Canada, and yes, they did do a lot of tea, and there was actually tea services at the school the school I went to.
Nice. Did you go to private school?
It was a private school in St. Catharines, Ontario called Ridley.
Okay, yeah, no, it's funny. I years ago I worked for the Bank of Nova Scotia, and I was up there on some retreat training session or something. We decided we were going to drive to Niagara Falls.
Mhm.
So we went. I think in fact, one of the management guys at the time was from St. Catharines, and I think you passed through that, right, to get to Niagara Falls.
Ridley is in St. Catharines, correct?
There you go.
It's a beautiful school. I was fortunate to have been able to attend. I went on bursary, so I definitely got a little financial help to be able to attend, and now I try and give back so someone else has that same opportunity that I did.
Oh, that's great. So let's talk about your law practice. Tell us what kind of law you practice, what you do.
Sure. So I have been practicing for 25 years, and the only thing I know how to do is immigration law. It is what I knew I wanted to do while I was in law school, and I practiced it, or I started practicing right out of law school. So I've been doing that for 25 years. I mostly do employment-based immigration. So immigration law is a pretty big world. Usually you can divide it into employment-based, family-based, and then immigration court. So I know some individuals will practice in immigration court where they're helping people with removability, asylum, things like that.
Yeah.
I've never gone into that realm. I've always done employment-based and family-based, but day in, day out, I deal with multinational corporate clients, small corporate clients, as they're hiring and transferring people here for the US.
Ah, I see. What are those visas they call them?
They
Oh,
are, so usually you can break down the employment-based US immigration into two sides. The non-immigrant temporary visas have a little bit of an alphabet soup nomenclature to them. So the common visas are H-1B,
H-1B. That's it. Yeah.
L-1, O-1, things like that. And then the other side would be the permanent side, immigrant visas, which would be a green card.
Right. Okay. Now I knew the H-1B were getting shut down during the Trump administration, right? It was much tougher to come here.
It was, without saying whether it's a good thing or a bad thing or your politics,
Yep.
the
Yep.
one true statement I can give is that 4 years was the most challenging of my 25 in practicing employment-based immigration. There was really a concerted effort to try and limit and slow down employment-based immigration matters. And it's really hard to change the law. As we
Yeah.
know, going through Congress to actually obtain changes in the law is nearly impossible, and definitely for immigration. So the strategy wasn't to change the law because you can't, it's just too difficult. They went back and they reinterpreted the law. So they went back and read the statute again, and I'm sure at some point someone said, interpret that language in a way that fits our end game. So they reinterpreted language, made things very difficult. A lot of court cases. It actually turned many employment-based immigration attorneys into litigators as well. I never thought I would have had to have litigated any immigration matters, but I did during that period.
Huh. Interesting. So I assume with the new administration that has reversed course?
A little bit, yes. So the new administration certainly has reverted back to known intent, known congressional intention, known congressional understanding of what the law means and what it's intended to do. Part of it was going back towards that as well, because there were so many court cases where the prior administration was losing in how to implement how they wanted to view the law. But I would say the last 3 or 4 years is a little more normal as it was, the previous 20 years.
Got it. Yeah. No, I know
Doesn't
people.
mean things are perfect.
Yeah,
Doesn't mean one administration is easy or hard
sure.
per se. It just is, I think, a little more accurate representation of what our immigration laws are intended to do.
Got it. Yeah, no, I know businesses that were directly affected by that. So there were major implications of tightening that up. So
Yeah, it was a matter of what should have been 1 to 2 steps during that period turned out to be 4 to 5 to 6 steps. So they really tried to frustrate the process. It was harder, it took longer. Everything was a grind to get things done.
So when you say you became a litigator, so what did that mean? Practical terms, what did you have to do?
So I'm not really a litigator. Immigration law for most people is transactional law. I don't go to court. I'm not in front of a judge, but there are times where if U.S. immigration, which usually you're dealing with USCIS, if they don't follow the law properly, if they adjudicate the case and they make up their own rules, or they're just not really relying on the facts, you may have to take them to federal court and say, hey, they're not following their own policy, they're not following the law. They make the decision, but they don't have universal authority to do what they want. Please force them to follow their own laws. So I had to do that on different occasions. The 2 of the more interesting ones were for professional sports teams. So
Okay.
one was for an NHL team where I was pursuing a green card for someone who we deemed to have extraordinary ability. USCIS denied the case. I had to go to federal court and say, look, they're not even following the law. Please jump in. And then that case was approved. And then I had to do it for a similar case after that for an NFL team. Very similar case where I had to go back to the attorney for USCIS in DC and say, hey, I actually don't want to go through litigation again. Can we resolve this without that? And we were able to do that.
Oh, that's interesting. So like for hockey, for example, where a lot of hockey players come from Canada. So you would have to get them a visa to play hockey or just to move here
Yep.
permanently?
So we represent an NHL team, NFL team, some professional lacrosse teams. So for hockey, there are a large number of individuals that are either from Canada or from Europe, different parts of Europe. So they do need visas, approved visas, in order to play in the US. So we have to process all of that for them.
That would kill the league if you couldn't allow Canadians to play hockey in the United States.
If you took out Canadians and Europeans, it would be a very small league. It still can be a challenge. It's not like a perfunctory, just check a box and file it. There are still things that need to be handled properly, or else you can run into issues.
Yeah, interesting. So you said you always wanted to be an immigration lawyer. How did that happen?
It probably stems back. I don't know if I've consciously thought about it, but it probably goes back to when I did go to high school in Canada. I had to obtain a visa, a student visa, in order to travel to Canada and go to
Ah,
school.
okay.
But the school I attended also had kids from all over the world. Um, and I thought it was just really interesting learning about different countries, actually speaking to people from different countries, what their life is like. And I think that probably translated into my interest in immigration law because that's what I do now. Beyond speaking to companies and coming up with strategies to fit their needs, I have to speak to foreign nationals all over the world to understand their needs, their specific family situations, understand their culture, all of that in order to be able to communicate and really process things the way that's needed.
Yeah, interesting. Well, why, I'm just curious, why'd you go to that school in Canada when there are so many schools in the US?
I grew up in a town where I grew up Catholic, and the Catholic high school was about the time where Catholic schools were starting to shut down and they were losing some of their enrollment. And the Catholic high school that I would have attended in my hometown was shutting down. And my parents were looking for a different school. My mom's Canadian. She grew up in Canada, in Ontario. She had friends in St. Catharines that knew about this school, and that's how I
Oh,
attended.
okay.
Now, the joke, and amongst our friends was that I have five older brothers, so there were six boys, and we grew up in a house that was about 1,500 square feet.
Wow.
And the joke was my parents just wanted us out of the house, so they couldn't deal with that many boys all at once in the house, so they just shipped us off to school.
That makes sense. Boy, that's crowded. I have five, there are five boys in my family. Our house was not much bigger, but it was a little bit bigger. And you're right, it gets crowded with five
Uh,
boys.
yeah, when we're young, it's one thing, but there's only a 10-year difference. If you have three boys that are all in high school at the same time, that's a lot of rattling around a small house.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we were 8 years from top to bottom. So
Yeah.
it was it was crowded and we were breaking all kinds of things all the time. So
Same at our house.
anyway, it's good fun. By the time we were in high school, my mother was pretty tough. She knew how to handle us. So
Yeah.
any other lawyers in the family?
So my father was a physician, my mom was a nurse, and one of my older brothers is an attorney as well. He does contract law, really business contract law for a cable company in Connecticut.
Okay, very good.
So I have no idea what he does, and he has no idea what I do.
Okay. Well, I'm sure you have some general understanding of what each other does.
Not much. It's kind of interesting about, I mean, very general. It's interesting about, the legal field and different practice groups. I really have no skills to bring to any other practice group. If I wasn't practicing immigration law, I don't know what I'd be doing. I wouldn't be qualified to do anything else.
Oh, I doubt that. I'm sure you have some good skills. So what are those skills that you think you have to be a good immigration lawyer or just a lawyer in general?
Um, Really, I think first and foremost, you need to be able to communicate clearly. I mean, if you break down what we do, it is persuasive writing, it's persuasive arguing. You have a position that you're taking, you need to be able to communicate that to whoever, the other side. If you can't communicate clearly and be persuasive, you probably won't be very effective as a lawyer. So generally, like writing skills are very important, and it doesn't have to be flowery writing. It doesn't have to be big words. I think when I was younger, I was always writing to impress. I thought I was, supposed to impress someone with the language I was using. Um, Now my language is very simple. I probably write mostly at a between an eighth and a 12th grade level purposely. I try and be very succinct and very direct. So beyond writing, I think you need to. My number one rule, really, for anyone, as I always tell young students, is the two ups. You need to show up and don't give up.
Mm.
And they sound very simple, but if you can do those difficult things in practice, you're going to do better than most people. Showing up means not only physically showing up, but mentally showing up, being ready to go, always being there when something needs to be done. And obviously, don't give up is some resiliency, because things are not going to go well. You know, it's no different than any other job, but there are days where I go home and I think, I was a complete failure today, or that did not go the way I wanted to at all. And you just have to say, I'm going to do better tomorrow. You show up tomorrow, you don't give up. I think some of those inherent personality skills will take you a long way. All of the other things you can learn, but you kind of need that foundation.
Yeah, that's interesting. I would say the same thing like in the sales profession. I mean, as the expression goes, persistence beats smarts any day of the week. I mean,
Mhm.
you're right, you got to stay with it and you have to be consistent and persistent. And that's half more than half the battle. It's maybe 90% of it, right?
Oh, I agree. I mean, again, there's certain foundational things for any job, and again, for a lawyer, writing, good analytical skills. You can kind of develop and improve all of those things. But if you don't have that mindset, again, of showing up, not giving up, um, being confident but being humble, being empathetic, all of those things, yeah, I think they take you a long way.
Yeah. Are you now mentoring younger lawyers now in the firm? Do you have a group that work with you?
I do. I've been doing a lot of DEI work over the last several years. So
Okay.
uh, I have, you know, taken on the role of being our DEI group leader here at the firm. I've been doing Diversity Career Law Fair. I was a co-chair for Diversity Career Law Fair here in Buffalo. I try and meet with different students that are either undergrads. There's a program called Discover Law, where individuals from backgrounds that, they don't have parents that were physicians or lawyers, or maybe they don't have that in their family and they don't know that path.
Mm.
So they don't realize that they can do it. They just need a little support, a little confidence, a little guidance. So trying to be involved in all of those groups to give them simple advice that um, right now you may not see yourself in law firms, you may not see yourself in other legal professionals, but this field is for everyone. You can do it. Just because no one in your group of family or friends hasn't done it yet, you absolutely can be the first. And these are the simple rules. And a lot of times you talk to those kids and they say, oh, I thought this was something much more challenging, or I really couldn't envision myself being able to do this. And I say, a lot of people feel that way. I mean, you can do this. I didn't have a lot of confidence when I was younger either. I used to make these mistakes, all of that. And it just makes them feel better that, yes, this is an option for me.
And have you created that pathway for some of the students?
We have started, so I still keep in touch with probably right now about 10 to 15 students at different levels, where I may be trying to help them prepare for LSATs or prepare for applying to law school. Or right now we're interviewing for a diversity rising 1L, or sorry, rising 2L program, where kids at law schools, trying to give them an opportunity again in an area where they may have not realized is there for them.
Mm.
So I'm seeing success with improvement and progress. I'm hoping to see more success with flat out results.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Good. That's interesting. It's good work. What do you think about the recent ruling on diversity?
The Supreme Court
Yeah,
and
Supreme
the
Court.
schools.
Yeah.
I I mostly think that I'm not sure schools, whether it be undergrad or law school, always use the right metrics in how they're assessing how a student is going to be able to, whether they're qualified, how they're going to be able to grow within that school, and how they're going to be able to do better. Um, I the I'm not totally against the ruling, in that I think DEI needs to be better defined. I mean, DEI and more open enrollment can't be just, we're going to be diverse for diversity's sake.
Right.
I do think I think the rulings are good in that they have challenged different DEI initiatives to really define what DEI is, what you think it's important, why you think it's important, and how to implement it. So in the sense where I think people thought DEI or those affirmative actions at schools was, well, let's just find diverse candidates even if they're not qualified. I think it's good that that ruling has now challenged DEI to be a little more focused on really what they're trying to achieve, because there are qualified, diverse applicants. You just need to do a better job, one, of finding them, and two, of assessing them.
Yeah. Well,
Because really, there's only two scenarios. If you don't have diverse individuals at your school, at your business, either you're not finding them properly or you're saying that they don't exist. And I don't believe that they don't exist. So there's something wrong with finding them and keeping them. Let's just say that I don't agree with Elon Musk. I don't know if you've ever seen any of his recent commentary on DEI. I think he's completely off base on his viewpoint of DEI.
yeah. Well, I mean, listen, it requires, I guess, reasonable behavior, just like laws, right? Like we've seen in the White House. I mean, there's one thing to have a framework. It's another thing to actually try to, behave in a reasonable way. DEI, I mean, yes, I mean, you have to impose something. Otherwise, it's very easy to apply bias and just ignore qualified applicants that, right, based on your.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, just people need to be more open that, hey, maybe we're being biased, obviously, without realizing it. I mean, sometimes there's explicit bias, sometimes there's implicit bias. We just need to be more open about how we're assessing people. What metrics are we using? Is that predictive? I think we need to do a better job. Again, I think there's qualified applicants and qualified individuals all over. And if we're not finding them, we're doing something wrong in how we're looking for them or assessing them, because I know they're there. There's some disconnect there.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway, that's good stuff that you're doing. That I appreciate that. What advice would you give somebody today, based on all that we've been discussing, if they were pursuing a career in law?
I would say, I mean, I probably fell into law by process of elimination, realizing I really can't do anything else. I know you watch a movie and it's like, oh, there's this really cool story and really emotional story as to how someone chose the law, or how they want to save the world. I really realized that I'm not skilled at many other things. I'm pretty poor at math. I'm pretty poor at science. The one thing I thought I could do well is read and write in simplest terms. But I would say people just should be honest with themselves as to why they think they may be interested in the law. They need to realize that what they think what they think their career in the law is going to be is probably very different than what it will be. So try and speak to lawyers, try and do an internship to get a feel for what it's really like, and realize that you could go to law school and not actually practice law at all. A law degree is still very beneficial to go into many different fields. So if you think you have an interest in it, but you're not sure, don't feel as though you need to be locked in to a career as a lawyer. You can do many things with that degree. And then again, just be honest with yourself. Do you have the mindset, the skills to be successful in the career? And be honest with yourself. You don't want to pursue something that doesn't fit you and you're not going to do well at. For example, if for whatever reason I thought I need to be an engineer, like that was the right thing to do, or everyone is an engineer and I need to go that path, I would have been a really bad engineer. I would have felt like a failure. And it doesn't mean I am a failure. I just chose the wrong path. So be honest with yourself. do you think you really have the skill set and the ability to grow into that field? Don't make yourself a fish trying to ride a bicycle and then you feel like a failure, trying to assess whether this is a right fit for your skills.
Got it. Excellent. So the firm, you said you got what, a couple hundred lawyers, and what other things does the law firm do?
So yeah, we're getting close to about 200 lawyers and pretty broad range of practice groups that you would see at any, what do you want to call it, large size firm or mid to large size firm. So trust and estates, employment, litigation, real estate, banking, environmental, pretty much runs the gamut of most. We do tax, most practice areas, and even some smaller groups we do. They still call it Indian law. So we actually have a very, very prominent and successful Indian law group. I don't know why, just within the industry, it's still called Indian law. I don't know why it hasn't changed, but that's what it is. But our Indian law group is phenomenal. We have a cannabis group just because that's really growing here in New York. So we have a little, those smaller groups as well.
Oh, nice. And just final words you want to leave with the audience about, the firm, and if they want to get in touch with you, the best way to connect.
So probably the easiest way, we have a really great website. We have a great marketing team, and they put together not only a new website, but a new kind of recruitment portal where anyone can go on and see the offices, see the people, see everything, what it's like to work here. So if you just Google Lippes Mathias, it's Lippes, and then the Mathias is Mathias. You can really see everything about our firm. But again, that new recruitment portal, brand new, just came out last month, is really phenomenal. And you can find any attorney there on the website, including me.
Oh, nice. And you're growing? The firm's growing?
The firm is growing at a rapid pace. We're, again, close to 200 attorneys. It wasn't that long ago. I joined about 5 years ago. I wonder if at that time it was probably about 75 to 80 attorneys. We're growing not only in different locations, but thankfully we're doing well, and we have a lot of interest in either laterals trying to come over individually or bring new practice groups over, and individuals out of law school. So we are growing at a good clip.
Oh, excellent. That's good news. Good. Well, listen, I enjoyed it. Immigration law is certainly a topical thing these days.
It is. I encourage anyone to immigration law is a great practice area. You get to learn so much about different parts of the world, different cultures, different people, different professions. It really covers everything. You have to dig into corporate law, tax law, family law. So it covers a lot of bases. I am never bored. I am always stressed, which is the same for every job, right?
Right.
No matter what you're doing, you're going to be stressed. You might as well enjoy what you're doing. I mean, I realized that one day I went over to get a sandwich at a sandwich place, and the cooks in the background were, everyone's yelling and they're doing everything. I said, wow, that job looks really stressful. And I thought, every job's stressful. Everyone says they're stressed. So you really have to choose something that you're going to enjoy while you're being stressed.
Excellent advice. I agree. All right, listen, for everybody, again, Andrew Wilson, Lippes Mathias, and this is sponsored by EmotionTrac, which is a legal tech platform, and we help litigators prepare for mediation and trials with our Insights platform. Thanks, Andrew. Enjoy the time together.
Jonathan, thank you. Follow up anytime, and please send over what we talked about before. I'm happy to take a look at it.
Oh, you bet.